Yo, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another Minnesota Twins discussion video. So in this video, this is going to be the start of a series that we are going to be doing over the course of the offseason. Because, well, it's the offseason. So basically what I'm going to do is go through every single player who played on the Twins in 2019. We're going to give them a review, their expectations going into this year, their expectations for next year, if they are around, and so on and so forth. You'll see how it goes here, but we're going to start with Kyle Gibson. And the reason I'm going to start with him, I'm going to be doing the guys who I think won't be on the team next year. Let's just put it that way. The guys who are either going to retire, that are going to, not get signed back, that we might trade. Those are the guys who we're going to start with, and then we'll go from there into the players that we know are back, who have signed long contracts, blah, 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 etc. So you'll see how it goes, but this will also give you guys an idea of who I think will, need to have spots filled. Of course, we need starting pitching, but where are we going to need starting pitching? Who is going to be a caliber of a kind of player that we would have to go get? So that's why we're doing these series videos first, and it'll allow the offseason to kick off a little bit more. So we're going to start with Kyle Gibson. Let's go through his stats from this year alone, then we'll break it down into game logs in particular and his splits. So let's start with 2019. He went 13-7 this year. I mean, it was a good Twins team overall, but wins and losses don't really mean anything, you know what I'm saying? So realistically, it was probably his best year for wins and losses because he had a good team behind him. He was consistent. Now, he wasn't very consistently good, but he was consistent, which again isn't a bad thing, but did he give the team his chance to win? Not always, with a 4.4 ERA, and if you want to look in particular with a whip or FIP, whip, ERA plus kind of thing. His ERA plus was a 95, 100 is average, so a little bit below average there. A FIP of 4.26, not terrible, but not as good as some of his other years. A whip of 1.4, not great there. So, if you look at those more advanced numbers rather than just his hits, innings pitched, not great. But if you want to look at more of his stats that people care about, that they look at, I guess that for the casual fan, 160 innings pitched, 175 hits, 99 runs, 86 were earned, 23 home runs, 56 walks to 160 strikeouts. That's not bad. I mean, that's really not bad. A 2.86 strikeout to walk ratio, a 9.0 strikeout to 9 ratio. That's really good. I mean, both of those numbers are the best of his career, and he's done a lot better. Looking back to previous years, he's done a lot better with the numbers that you don't see right here. Velocity, that is increased. A lot more cut on his slider and his sinker that he's kind of more gotten away from. That had a lot more bite when he decided to throw it. Now, those are the things that don't appear on, just a standard pitching numbers sheet. But is that enough to bring him back? Now, I don't think so because of the situation that the Twins are in, and we'll get into that a little bit here when I go through the logs and stuff. But if you, just look at his numbers, not great. If you look at him compared to last year, he's also 31, by the way. I guess I forgot to mention that. He's getting older. He's a free agent. That's why we're doing him first. But looking at his last year's numbers, you could argue that he was probably better last year in certain regards. I mean, he was 10-13, but again, who really cares about win-loss? His ERA, best of his career, 3.62. He threw just under 200 innings, 177 hits, 88 runs compared to 99. 79 were earned. That's not really something I guess you could compare between both years, but then 23 home runs for both seasons. Okay. 79 walks. Yeah, he did walk a couple more people from 56 this year, but 179 strikeouts as well. Again, like I said, highest strikeouts in any season. And he still had a really good, strikeout to walk ratio, 2.27, a really good hits per 9, or strikeouts per 9, I should say, at 8.2. His walks per 9 were okay. Very solid numbers. And again, if you want to look at the more advanced numbers, the numbers that, aren't on just shoot out at you, 118 ERA plus, so, decently above average. 4.13 FIP, which is, again, a little bit better. His ERA, a little bit lower, but His FIP not much higher, which is good, and a whip of 1.3. That is his second lowest of his career. So a very, comparable year to last year, but you could definitely see that he was a lot more improved in some aspects last year than he was this year. And if you're just continuing that downward trend, just in those certain aspects, I don't think it's enough to bring him back. Now let's go look at his game logs from this year. He was in the bullpen for the last 5 or 6 games. And he actually didn't do too bad in the bullpen. In his last 2 outings, he didn't allow a run. Now, in his last outing, he only got 1 out, and it was a strikeout. But, so what? This is during the regular season, by the way. So he did not allow, a run in his last 2 outings out of the bullpen. His other bullpen appearances weren't terrible besides the one that we know he did really bad in, which was his second start against Kansas City. But then otherwise, looking at his starts, because he is a starter, you go back, 5 earned runs in 4.2 innings, 5 innings, 4 earned runs, 5.1 innings, 4 earned runs, 6.2 innings, 5 runs, and then you just keep going back. The last time he had a shutout was not even a shutout, I guess, technically, because they used him as an opener against Texas. Is that what that was? Pitched 1 inning, gave it 1 walk, 1 hit, but no earned runs. The inning before that, or the last time he threw a shutout, was again a 1 inning thing, and it was in the 17th inning of a game when he threw 1 inning, did not give up a run. The last time he actually had a very good start was way back on June 14th when he faced Kansas City. They won 2-0. He threw 8 innings. That was the Maddox game, by the way. Should have gone out there for the 9th. It was stupid why he didn't, because we won that game 7-3, I think, is what we won that game by, and we scored a bunch of runs in the top of the 9th. It was, or whatever it was, and he didn't come back out. It was really dumb, but he threw 8 innings, 2 hits, 6 strikeouts, no earned runs. That was an incredible game. Threw 88 pitches. Should have went out there. Should have completed the Maddox, but that was the last good game he threw. That's June 14th. Before that, he did have another good game against Tampa Bay, and he had some more good games at the beginning of the year. But when you look at it, 1 or 2 real shutouts all season, that's not going to bring you back if you're a free agent. I get the increase in velocity is there. I get the increase in, break is there. But when your ERA, your FIP, your ERA plus are all below average, it's not looking good for him, especially in the situation, like I said, when you've got Barrios, who is under contract for a while. Then you've got Odorizzi, who had a fantastic season, being an all-star again. He struggled a little bit, but so did everybody else. Pineda, if we want to bring him back, he was doing really well. Of course, he had that whole scandal with the PED stuff, but he was pitching really well. They were both pitching, both of those guys free agents, both pitching better than Gibson was, pretty much the entire season. So you got to look at it that way and be like, well, if we do bring somebody back, odds are it's probably not going to be Gibson. So you want to look at his splits, though, a little bit more. And again, this is just the first video. You can compare these across, separate videos. I probably should have just compared it to like Odorizzi, but I want to wait for that, into Odorizzi's video. So if you want to look at, his splits against, certain batters versus right-handed batters, he actually did pretty decent. A 262 average, OPS of 750, and that just tells you, his break was really good in his breaking balls. When he located that high fastball, it was good. Of course, he struggled a little bit versus lefties, but, I think that's understandable. He was a lot better at home than he was on the road. A 249 batting average, OPS of 722. Compare that to his away average of 303 batting and an 848 OPS. Very much a different guy on the road. And again, you can just look at all of these stats. Of course, Baseball Reference, that's where I'm getting all this information from. But the last one I'm going to go over is his first half and his second half. Like I said, the 2 shutouts came in the first half of the season. A 4.09 ERA. Not great, but, here are the numbers that really stick out. The strikeouts to walk ratio, 3.36. Strikeouts per 9, 8.9, which is still good. But the whip of 1.2, compare that to the second half of the season. A ERA of 6, a whip of 1.7, and a strikeouts per walks of 2.36. His strikeouts per nine actually increased to 9.1, but he was in the bullpen for a little while as well. So you can just see the splits. It's a lot different, and you want to go into, more details of the months, the splits. There's a lot you can look and uncover here, but it just looks like, he wasn't a great pitcher overall this season. I think age is maybe catching up to him. I know he had that, was it a stomach problem or a disease or something that might have caused him to do a little bit worse this season as well. And I hope he gets better from that, continuing to work with that. But you could tell he wasn't a great pitcher this season. But even if, you break it down a little bit more, a better pitcher in the first half than he was in the second half, and that's not going to look great for him when a couple of other pitchers on the Twins did really well, and he's going into free agency. Now, I do think there's a team that could walk Gibson. I think he's, a mature pitcher who knows what he's doing. He's, going to give you outs for the most part. He's a solid, 4 or 5 guy in a rotation, I think. Maybe even a 3 guy. I think that a teams could want him. I just don't think it's with the Twins. So I don't think that, he'll come back. But I do think, expectations for next year, if he can put up a year like this, like he did this year on another team, maybe a more of a struggling team. I wouldn't say the Orioles or somebody like that. But if he can do that for another team like the Orioles, that would be a win for them, I think. I think that they could get a really solid pitcher for a couple more years, and he would be okay in a role like that. And he might even be, the Orioles ace in that case. So that's just my take on it. I would love to know your guys' thoughts on Gibson. Does he come back next year? Where does he go? What are your expectations for him, from this season moving into next season? That's my opinion. Want to know yours? Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Also, let me know who I should do next, because I want to do some, videos for you guys. But all right, that's all I got for you guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.